Mid-boss, a creature of immense power who hath been delegated to the sewers below the cursed apple. Fortunately, it can be freed via being slain by true champions, and as thanks, the champions are then rewarded with the Rejuvenator. Hello ladies and gents, I'm the Dapper Rat, but only when you're looking directly at me, and today I shall teach you the intricacies of mid-boss. Starting out, as the name implies, mid-boss is a boss-type enemy that lays in the middle of the map. Specifically below the middle of the map, with many different access points and exits, from your main staircases and zip lines to the uncharted paths of the deeper sewer. Fact of the matter is that this is the lair of the mid-boss, who spawns in at 10 minutes with a whopping 13,000 HP, 15% bullet resist, 35% debuff resist, and deals about 100 DPS with an effective range of about 40 meters. That's not all though, as the mid-boss also has a special shield that constantly regenerates, starting at 85 HP when it first spawns in. This constant regenerating shield makes it really hard for a single player to effectively kill the mid-boss until way later into the game. As such, mid-boss is heavily incentivized as a team event, usually taking at least 2 to 4 players depending on the character's constant damage output. Two heavy DPS characters like Infernus and Viper could easily take care of a mid-boss as a duo, whilst characters like Dynamo and Lash should call for additional teammates to aid them. Much like other camps and the urn, mid-boss scales the longer the match goes on, so whilst it starts with 13,000 HP and an 85 HP shield, these increase by 230 and 5 per minute respectively. To round things off, the mid-boss respawns every 5 minutes with the exception of the first and second death, which puts them on a 7 and 6 minute timer respectively. You don't necessarily have to keep track though, as entering your HUD detail view, which for keyboard and mouse is the default button of tab, you can actually see how much time is left until the next spawn of mid-boss. Now then, why even kill mid-boss in the first place? Well, the main reason is for the Rejuvenator, but there are a few other minor benefits. For example, the team to hit the finishing blow on the mid-boss gets rewarded with a 3,000 soul bounty split amongst their team, as well as 2 minor permanent buffs like the ones found in idols. Now, with all the semantics out of the way, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Rejuvenator is an incredible buff that can easily cripple the team that does not claim it. Once the mid-boss has been slain, the Rejuvenator is released, descending towards the ground over 6 seconds, and once it touches the ground, the Rejuvenator becomes available to claim, allowing you to hit it with a heavy melee in order to grab 1 of 3 credits. Each credit grants your team an extra life, meaning if you claim all 3 credits, you effectively have 9 people on your team, since 3 of them can respawn into the fight after a short delay. It's important to note that you as a single player only get 1 respawn, meaning 1 player cannot have multiple lives. Now, as it's kind of implied, anyone can claim credits from the Rejuvenator, even players who did not slay the mid-boss, which includes your enemies, which means there are various things and strategies to look out for when fighting for the Rejuvenator. First is the classic parry. If you parry while underneath the Rejuvenator, you can prevent enemies from being able to steal it, as they will punch your parry instead of the crystal. And I hopefully don't have to specify that when someone gets parried, they become stunned for, honestly, not that long, but in terms of actively fighting, fucking ages. The second is Rejuvenator contesting abilities. These are AoE abilities that often stun groups of players. The biggest one to look out for is Dynamo's Singularity, as it's a constant stunning channel which allows him to shut down any enemy from getting near the Rejuvenator for a long time. Other common problematic abilities are Lash's Ult, Ivy's Stoneform, and Viper's Petrify, along with others. The criteria to have a Rejuvenator contesting ability is a group stun in some fashion, which can include Doorman's Cart when paired with something like Vortex Web. The big difference between Dynamo's Singularity and the other moves like Paradox's Swap is that Dynamo shuts down all and any attempts for the Rejuve while he's channeling, but other characters can be baited. Since Viper, Lash, Ivy, etc. are all one and done abilities, you have half your team in the pit to threaten claiming, whilst the other half hides to engage after the contesting ability has been used. Other ideas include items like counterspell and knockdowns to prevent these abilities from ever taking effect. More often than not though, it shouldn't come down to this, as your team should seek to eliminate these key players before engaging with the mid boss in the first place, which leads to the third outcome. If most of the enemy team is wiped, or if their rejuve contesting characters were KIA, then the enemy team is unlikely to contest the rejuvenator at all. In times like this, when you are not being pressed, you should let the player with the lowest HP be the first to punch the rejuve. This is because the first person to claim a credit has their health fully restored, so they are ready to fight. Once claimed, you are free to do as you please. Some teams claim rejuve for the peace of mind that they can completely claim the enemy's farm uncontested, since the enemy should be playing carefully and staying relatively hidden around their walkers or their base. Others claim it before making big team pushes on all objective lanes in order to claim a mass amount of space. Finally, the most popular approach is to claim the rejuve before going all in and invading the enemy base to take their patron's life. What you choose is up to you and your team, and with that, I digress. If you've enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe. The playlist on the left will teach you more about Deadlock if you wish to improve, while the video on the right is statistically the most interesting thing you could watch right now, provided that YouTube's data collectors aren't asleep at the wheel. That being said, thank you all for watching. I've been the Dapper Rat, and as always, farewell ladies and gents.